3, 2, 1. Happy National Coming Out Day. Today we celebrate the L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, and of course the Q's and beyond. National Coming Out Day celebrates two of the critical tools that queer people use against fighting stigma and discrimination, and that's visibility and self-determination. However, you may be wondering, Mamobo, it's 2023, we have same-sex marriage, greater acceptance of queer people, and of course, RuPaul's Drag Race. Why do we need to celebrate? Well, because greater visibility brings about greater backlash. And I'll tell you exactly the reason why. Hi, my name's Mamobo Ogoro, social psychologist and founder of Gorm. And if you want to unify across differences, make sure you are subscribing. You cannot doubt that there has been immense progress when it comes to LGBTQ+ rights in different parts of the world. However, 69 countries still criminalize people for being LGBTQ+. And even if a country doesn't explicitly penalize people for being a little, they still make it extremely difficult and very hard for queer people to simply exist. For example, drag shows being banned in the USA and people banning trans people from playing chess of all sports. Some people haven't watched Queen's Gambit. The math is not mathing. On top of that, psychologists have pointed out that queer people are more likely than their straight counterparts to suffer from mental illness due to homophobic and transphobic discrimination. This is what social psychologist Elon Meyer describes as minority stress, where being a minority in a society that does not want you makes it impossible for you to be yourself, but it also makes you literally sick. But if you know anything about the queer community, is that queer people don't sit down and wait. And today we celebrate National Coming Out Day because in 1988, gay psychologist Robert Aybar and lesbian feminist activist Jane O'Leary came together at the height of the AIDS epidemic to fight against stigma for people to start helping those who were literally dying. In the words of Aybar, most people think they don't know anyone who's gay or lesbian. And in fact, everybody does. It is imperative that we come out and let people know who we are and disabuse them of their fears and stereotypes. So things like coming out and even pride parades are a way for people to combat stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination targeted against queer people and the LGBT+ community. And like with topics such as the AIDS crisis, debates on same-sex marriage, and now the increased trans visibility that we're seeing, prejudice against these groups and communities become more visible and conflict erupts. And as we mentioned in our past videos, with diversity comes division. However, we can unify by allowing people to share their stories, experiences, and challenge misconceptions via their perspectives. And that's why we have National Coming Out Day. And I'd like to remind you that coming out is not a requirement for every single person who's from the LGBT+ community. Coming out is very complicated, and it's also very personal. Coming out can be a one-time, look at me, here, I'm queer, I'm coming out, the whole shebang. Or it can be a lifelong conversation. For example, most people come out many times throughout their lives, to their families, friends, colleagues, neighbors, houseplants, whoever will hear at this point. Coming out and the uncertainty that it causes in different scenarios and environments can be quite stressful, and psychologists have found that it can cause a lot of mental distress. Coming out can also be quite dangerous. Many people that live in situations where coming out can mean being kicked out of their homes or even death. Also, different countries and different cultures approach coming out in very different ways. Coming out to everyone is seen by many people as a coming of age sort of ritual in queer communities. But for many queer people worldwide, this feels quite foreign. It feels too American for them. In reality, coming out is part of your narrative, your own story, and queer people are the ones that decide when it happens. Nobody should be forced or expected to come out. And like the actor Chuti Gatwa from Sex Education, people should come out on their own terms.
This is your moment! Have it!
Speaking of which, when it came to my story of coming out, or what I like to say coming in, was quite a tough one. When I realized that I was a bisexual person, it was something that I really had to grapple with, coming from a very conservative, religious African household, which, yes, I love my family. If you're watching this, love ya. But it was something that I had to really grapple with at a very young age and accept in my early 20s. So I like to think of the phrase coming in rather than coming out. And when I say coming in, I mean people coming in to see a part of who I am, that's something that I really didn't share previously. So rather than coming out for the world, you are coming into a part of Mamobo that you've never seen before. And it's coming in to see a different side of myself that I generally don't show on a daily basis, because I'm actually quite straight passing, unfortunately. Coming out, or what I like to say coming in, is not only about visibility, but it's about showing different parts of yourself and showing stories about queer people in other parts of the world and their unique struggles and their triumphs too. And because here in Gorm, we walk the walk and talk the talk, one of our core missions is to provide a platform for people to tell their own stories and use tools to create dialogue. And if you agree or disagree, we believe that every human being has a story to tell, and their human dignity should be respected. That's why instructing a new generation of storytellers through our White Shot program, or generating insightful discussions through our video projects like This Is Them or Fresh Perspectives.
For me, it ultimately came down to a choice between living my truth or dying. That was the choice, and I chose to live.
We create a platform for people to unify. These scenarios allow people to come out and discuss issues related to their identity, who they are, their narratives, and their belonging to. And if you take anything from this video, and even my personal experience, the only person that you need to come out to is yourself. And then it's up to you to decide who you want to tell and how you want to tell them. In the words of a great philosopher of the 21st century, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?